Corporation of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Sudarto Suryodipuro, respected Deputy Minister of Industry, Commerce of Law, People Republic, Democratic Republic, His Excellency Maratang Fongsai, distinguished researchers, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. So the aim of this presentation is to establish the foundations for the development of Brunei Darussalam's digital economy. It will analyze the current state of digital landscape in Brunei, identify the challenges, analyze the potentials, and propose set of policy recommendations to accelerate its growth. Next slide, please. So this is the agenda for my presentation today: introduction, background, digital transformation, development, key project for digital economy in the context of Brunei, and then set of policy recommendations. Next, please. So as we know, Brunei is widely known as the heart of Borneo and heart of the world due to its largely intact forests. It's 100% virgin according to UN data, with populations about 450,000 populations, and Brunei with the major export is still oil and gas, more than 50% in 2022. Next, please. So this is the data from Department of Economic Planning and Statistics for 2022. The GDP, oil and gas continue to be the primary contributor for Brunei GDP, more than 50 or 51 or 52% every year. Next. However, interesting turn, GDP for the first quarter 2023 shows the increase of non-oil and gas sector. This attributes to the recovery sector of air transportation, finance, and banking services, particularly and also the other transportations. Next, this is the digital landscape of Brunei Darussalam. So, according to the United Nations E-Government Development Index, EGDI 2022, Brunei Darussalam's ranking 68 out of 193 countries. This score indicates that Brunei has high level of e-government development. And ITU, International Telecommunication Unit for Global Cybersecurity Index, Brunei ranks 85 out of 193 countries. This indicates Brunei has medium level of cybersecurity. And then ITU again for the ICT Development Index, Brunei ranking 53 out of the 193 countries. This score indicates that Brunei has high level of ICT developments. And WIPO, Global Innovation Index, unfortunately, we ranks 29 out of 132 economies with the score of those. This indicates Brunei has low level of innovation. We're going to explain about the focal points about when we talk about digital economy later on, the factor, the attribute of innovation is play a very critical role in that. Next slide, please. Aligned with WIPO, this is the Brunei Digital, sorry, let me check. ASEAN Digital Integration Index, ADII. From those six pillars, Brunei performs well, meaning that Brunei performs above average. All the pillar number 1, pillar number 2, pillar number 3, number 4, number 6. However, just aligned with the WIPO, Brunei is a bit in terms below ASEAN average in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship. Again, this will be the critical components when it talks about the digital economy in the context of Brunei Darussalam. Next slide, please. This is brief introductions about the milestone for the last 20 years about digital transformation in Brunei. So for the first milestone is the establishment of NITC in 2000. So NITC is National Information Technology Council. The role of NITC that time to 20 years ago to introduce about shifting from the paper-based to the paperless society. Number 2, introducing e-government initiative in the country. Number 3, the public introducing the private sector toward e-business. And then next framework, Brunei proposed e-government strategic framework spanning from 2021 to 2005. This framework identified the key initiative and project implementation of e-government services and system in various sectors, including the e-government and establishment AITI, a body to managing the role on data and ICT developments. And then the next milestone in spanning on 2029 to 2014, Brunei Darussalam e-government strategic plan comprises 5 key. Let me highlight here. Key components about e-government infrastructure, development of e-government application, e-government human resources, e-government policies and standard e-government awareness. And starting from in 2019, the Brunei government introduced or launched the DEC. The DEC, Digital Economic Council, was established to explore the economic potential of digital industry. This DEC supersedes or replaces the role of an ITC. So the DEC, it's become the release, what we call it, the Digital Economy Master Plan 2025. And in transforming Brunei into smart nation to support the objective of Brunei Darussalam Vision 2035. So we have DEC. DEC is establishing Digital Economy Master Plan for 2025. And the next slide, please. For the Digital Economy Master Plan, this is a roadmap for Brunei Darussalam in developing the digital economy. They concerns about the niche area. The niche area consists of 7 and 9 areas that Brunei Darussalam in developing the digital economy activities. Those 9 areas for energy sector, agri-foods, financial service, business, education, health, tourism, halal industry, logistics and transportation. From those 9 niche areas translated into more 17 key projects within those 5 years DE 2025. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the digital landscape that we in Brunei Darussalam in our roadmap for developing digital economy. So now we want to highlight the challenges we face in the context of Brunei Darussalam. The first challenge is been discussed earlier by previous sessions about the wave of fourth industrial revolution. The wave of fourth industrial revolution is bringing the new challenges, which is many jobs being replaced by the technology, by the AI, by the machine, by the automation. However, the promise in fourth industrial revolutions is there will be new job creation will be created. So the need for policy in the context of digital economy for upskilling strategies to prepare new jobs arising from fourth industrial revolutions, since many jobs will be lost and many jobs will be created. So this is the first challenges we face in the context of Brunei Darussalam. And the second challenges that we have in the context of Brunei Darussalam in developing the digital economy activities is Brunei face a youth unemployment is quite high. So even the high internet penetration rate is Brunei is very reaching 95%, meaning that almost everyone in Brunei have access to the smartphone and internet. However, those digital activities not yet turned into digital smart business activities. So digital activities not yet been optimal in creating value added and employment and even innovation. So this is aligned with the WIPO and also the ASEAN Index in terms of how Brunei can trigger this innovation and entrepreneurship, because those are the components where we talk about digital economy. So the second challenge is about creating digital innovation in that, because it's also the youth unemployment is one of the challenges in Brunei. And then number 3, I think I remember it mentioned by Dr. Armstrong's talking about economies of scale, and many also out there talking about economies of scale. This is also a challenge when it talks about digital economy in Brunei, because we in Brunei, as mentioned in my first slide, is about the population is only 450,000, meaning the Brunei need to expand in terms of economies of scale. When we need to expand the economic of scale, there will be supply and demand. The mobility of people, goods, and services will be there. When mobility of people and goods will be there, that's how we trigger innovation. When we trigger innovation, that's how the enterprise works. That's how we reduce the unemployment rate. So those are integrated all together. Well, we see the unemployment rate very high, but of course the root cause of those, it's about probably we internally, we need to expand the economy of scale, because without the economies of scale, probably that's how we're struggling in terms of getting the portion of digital economy in our economy, because relying on oil and gas. That's why the idea of economic diversification is the main notion of this policy recommendation. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the framework that we propose in terms of policy recommendation. We have Digital Economy Master Plan 2025. We have identified key projects based on our needs or focus. We have energy, agro-food, and financial services quite booming in Brunei in terms of the Islamic financial services, business services encouraged in terms of the infrastructure, education, healthcare, tourism, halal industry. Those are the needs that developed by the EC 2025. We also identify the strength what we have about major producer of oil and gas, implementation of 5G ongoing. Number 3 is about regional center of Islamic finance and banking, and then high internet penetration, 95%. Almost everyone has access to the smartphone and the internet. Well-educated employees, a well-educated population, well-developed healthcare system, number of natural attraction like rainforest, Australia, planning to be major global halal industry, strategic location at Borneo Island. So we identify all the strength, and we identify also the challenges, and then the aim of digital economy is about economic diversification at the end. So those policy recommendations must support economic diversification. We are not always relying on oil and gas, as just explained in the first and second slide, because it's majority of those GDP for since couple of years, Brunei rely on. So non-oil must come from the could be coming from the digital economy activities. Now, how to turn those non-oil based on digital economy? So we propose here 4 main cluster of policy recommendation. The first one, what we introduce here, ecosystem of digital economy. The keyword here, we mention ecosystem of digital economy because there's another keyword, there's another term that we will talk always in the digital economy context about ecosystem of digital economy and digital ecosystem. I'm going to explain what's different between ecosystem of digital economy and what are the term of digital ecosystem. That's the first, developing of ecosystem digital economy. Number 2, enhanced digital regulation and framework. We talked about RCEP, we talked about Paris Agreement, we all there, but also when it comes to the economic of scale, Brunei is also accommodative all those regulation. And, but the concern here about the internal need to develop the first policy recommendation. The third, strengthening digital skill. We're no longer talking in Brunei about digital literacy because everyone has access to the internet. They have access to the good internet connection. However, it talks about digital skill and innovation that need to be upgraded. And then policy number 4 about digital infrastructure. This will become a backbone for any digital economy. We don't talk about digital economy without talking about the backbone of digital economy, which is digital infrastructure readiness, and then that's the aim to gain economic diversification in the context of non-oil and gas. Next, please. Okay, this is how to understand about the term. When we propose policy recommendation, there's 2 terms there, ecosystem of digital economy, and there's another term, they call it digital ecosystem. Let me explain briefly about what's the ecosystem of digital ecosystem of digital economy. Just a minute there. So we can define ecosystem of digital economy is interconnected networks of various dimensions or elements or actors that facilitate digital economy to work. So when it talks about digital economy within the ecosystem perspective, yes, we talk about smart government, but smart government is only one actor in the digital economy. Yes, we talk smart environments. I like the paper from Singapore. It talks when they talks about digital economy. They bring also Dr. Lily mentions earlier about smart environments. It must be part of digital economy. So when it talks about digital economy, must also talks about smart environment. The Paris Agreement will be there. The sustainability will be in the context of the discussion. But also, digital economy ecosystem must consist about smart society. Smart society, smart people there. Smart government must be there. E-government index must, good e-government index must be there. Smart environment must be on place, and also digital business environment. So ecosystem of digital economy, we won't talk about digital economy without those actors in place. So those factors, those dimensions must be in place when we talk about ecosystem of digital economy. So then when ecosystem of digital economy must be supported by digital infrastructure. It's mentioned by previous presenter, and then digital skill and innovation is no longer about digital inclusion because everyone in the context of Brunei is already included. Everyone can access. However, the problem with the innovation and entrepreneurship in Brunei need to be upgraded in the context of digital skill and innovation. So digital skill and innovation must be there, aligned with fourth industrial revolution. We in Brunei, we call it education 4.0. So the policy must be aligned with fourth industrial revolution, or in another term, the education system in Brunei, the primary up to the university, the curriculum must be in turn aligned with the education 4.0 and addressing what are the job will be losing and what new job will be created. And then big data analytics, as explained by Prof. Mira earlier, the big data analytics must be there also, regulatory framework, the RCEP, the DEFA, all these agreements also must be in place. So those actors, those dimensions are defined as ecosystem of digital economy. So digital ecosystem of digital economy must be in place to make digital economy works. So next, another term, it's what's the problem? Why Brunei is still lacking in terms of innovations, lacking in terms of enterprises? The internal agenda, the internal homework that we need to develop what we call digital ecosystem in specific needs. Remember when we mentioned about nine sector that Brunei focusing on the halal industry, focusing on Islamic finance, focusing on the health tourism. However, those actors must not work in silo. They must be in the digital ecosystem. So digital ecosystem here, so look at the idea about economic of scale. Economic of scale, if we develop digital ecosystem or halal hub, the demand supply side, there will be, it's no longer 4,500 population or potential market, but the market for the halal hub in Brunei, Brunei very much concerns about 20 million population in Borneo Island. And also ASEAN as a big market. ASEAN is considered third largest market in the world in the context of the halal market. GCC, the Gulf Middle East country, one of the demand side that need to be understood in the context of digital ecosystem. And then talking about digital ecosystem halal hub is not only understanding the market needs or the market demand, but also understanding about the principle like fintech, how the streamline payment, the P2P, the crowdfundings, the digital wallets must be in place also. That's why they call it digital ecosystem in the halal hub. And then once they understand the demand, and then the supply will be there. The supply from the Singapore, from the China, from our partner in RCEP, there will be streamlined from the supply side, goes to digital ecosystem halal hub, goes to the demand of in Borneo, ASEAN, GCC, and then the development of fintechs must be there, and then the smart production, fourth industrial revolution must be supported with smart grid, smart factory, intelligent system, AI works on that area. By then, that's what we consider how Brunei can move forward into the digital economy. That's the other side is another example about how digital economy in this smart eco health tourism, developing the digital economy, the digital health, hospitality industry, travel and tourism, and well-being services. So I guess that's for the introduction for our development in digital economy in the context of Brunei. Thank you. Back to Dr.
Okay, thank you, Professor Ashley. I will be the one who discuss his paper. This is my discussion. I think the paper to a certain extent is very interesting because the paper provides several digital plans in promoting the digital economy in Brunei. He first provides about the milestone of digital economic development and transformations in the country. And this digital plan start in the 2000s. And then he talked about e-government strategic framework, e-government strategic plan. And then the key thing is the Digital Economy Council in 2019. And this one create Digital Economy Master Plan 2025 for Brunei. And another one is a Smart Nation by 2035. Right? These are the digital plan which established in Brunei. And the second key important things in the paper is he highlight about the strategic trust that outlined in the Digital Economy Master Plan 2025, which provide 9 priority sectors and also 17 key projects, which if we look in that kind of project, it's quite interesting. And lastly, that I think is quite interesting, he provides 4 key recommendations. One is about developing ecosystem. Second is enhancing regulatory frameworks and strengthen digital skill. And lastly, digital infrastructure developments. So these are 4 policy recommendations from his paper. So for my comments, I think that the paper will become more informative if the author could start with the development of the digital economy in Brunei in depth, right? Because he's starting the paper with digital plans, but the background of the digital developments in Brunei haven't been seen in the paper, especially what is the contributions of the digital economy in Brunei, either from the demand side or supply side. How about the investment in the digital economy right now in Brunei? I haven't seen in the paper. And engagement of the workforce in the digital economy, and if possible in terms of the sub-industry. And also the infrastructure developments, he mentioned a bit in the presentations, but I haven't seen in the paper. But if you be able to cover in terms of the coverage, parity, and also in terms of the affordability of the people in Brunei, in terms of the infrastructure development, like the mobile phone cost, like the telephone cost, 5G, etc., etc. I think if you provide this kind of thing, it will be like the lay a groundwork for the leader and also maybe for the policy maker, and could see some problems of the Brunei. Where is the problems, right? For example, in Thailand, we have the relatively high price of the 5G comparing to other countries. So this is my first comment. For the second slide, please. For the second comments, I think you provide 4 key recommendations. And the first recommendation is quite crucial about the developing ecosystem. And 2 key things that you mentioned in there is one is a Halal Hub platforms, which I think is quite important. And you talk about the e-certificate, digital marketplace, digital logistic, partnership and network. And the second one is quite crucial about the smart eco-health and tourism, right? And you talk about the medical tourism infrastructure, digital health technology, but I'm not quite sure that right now what is the developments of this kind of activity in Brunei. I think if you can touch up on this kind of thing a bit, I think it will provide more informative for the leader and the policy maker to see what are the problems right now and what we should tackle. The second one. The third one, you talk about the regulatory frameworks, especially in terms of the cross-border activity between Brunei, Indonesia, and Malaysia, which is very crucial for Brunei, I think. But I think it will be like a more revealing if the author or you can expand this kind of cross-border in terms of the international cooperations, right? Especially in terms of the bilateral FTA, like the DFA, or maybe digital economic partnership agreements as the second presenter talk about the stand of Brunei, how Brunei involved with this kind of the international corporations. I think it would be more revealing and informative. Thank you. So now, as I'm a moderator also, I would like to open the floor maybe for the comment and suggestion or maybe questions to Professor Ashi. Please. Yes, please.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Maybe not covered. Maybe it's already covered or not covered in the paper, but one of the slides shows that Brunei has not been able to harness digital technologies to increase value added and employment and innovation, right? That's quite surprising to me because Brunei is one of the two high-income countries in ASEAN. And if a high-income country like Brunei cannot harness digital technologies for employment and productivity and value added, then it could be some lessons learned for the developing countries in ASEAN. And I just wonder if the author could maybe mention like a couple of challenges of why Brunei has not been able to harness this for productivity and employment. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was very, very interesting. I'm just curious because there is a structural shift from what you have presented in the beginning, where the exports of Brunei, the share of exports has been overtaken by different industries, right? And one thing that you've mentioned, I caught it in passing, is banking and finance has. And I'm just curious, how prominent is digital payments and the role of digital technology in the development of banking and finance? Perhaps they have contributed into this overtaking or structural shift that you have seen in the data. Thank you.
Okay, if no comment, please, Professor Ashley.
Thank you. Thank you for a very valid and interesting question from both. First, Dr. Maria asking us about the challenges of digital economy. Digital economy is not yet in contributing a lot in terms of our GDP. I think as I explained, as I presented earlier about the problem of digital economy, the root cause of the problem in not yet the digital economy in the GDP because of I think the mindset of the economic of scale. We couldn't succeed in expanding economic of scale. When we couldn't when we couldn't expand the potential of those 20 million populations in Borneo itself, and I think we couldn't see the demand and of the product and services to the country. I think the challenges is in our homework, because it's most the ministry's concerns is not yet within the digital ecosystem. So their work in the silo, based on each ministry, they work in the silo without any. So of course, the infrastructure of digital economy is there. For instance, like Brunei investing a lot in terms of infrastructure. Now we are moving into 5G, and almost every population get access to the smartphone because everyone can access the smartphone and internet. However, those activities not yet into the. It doesn't mean that the population is not ready to adopt a digital economy, but the platform or the ecosystem is not yet there. The demand is not yet there. The mobility of people, process, and technology is not yet there. So because of demand is not yet there, that's answer the question of statistic why innovation is not yet there, because the demand is very small. I hope I answer your question, Doctor. And then about the digital payment, yes. We edited books about financial technology in ASEAN. If you check about financial technology in ASEAN, we conducted a very excessive research on fintechs in ASEAN. Brunei in the infancy stage in terms of fintechs development and adoptions. We are on the process on that. We are now having the fintech sandbox. However, in terms of the adoption of digital payment, it's not really there. The reason because economic of scale is not really in demand. So the agenda now, expanding economic of scale, supporting the ASEAN economic community framework for the global mobility of people, goods and services. By supporting those initiatives, then Brunei is not only for the good consumer, but maybe in the future will be good suppliers in the halal sector, as well as the Islamic banking system. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for the questions.
Okay, thank you, Professor Ashley. Now I would like to move to the next sessions about the digital economy in Cambodia. I would like to invite Professor Park Deng Heng to present the paper, and then the discussant will be Dr. Simon Chi. Yes. So maybe you can use mine.
All right, I should say good afternoon. I'm standing between lunch, so I'm going to be quick. First of all, I just want to say a quick good afternoon to Professor Simon Tay. I believe you are joining online. Thank you so much for agreeing to be my discussion for the session and for reading the first draft and provide your comment. It's too bad that I cannot see you in person, but thank you anyway. So, next slide, please. So I'm gonna talk briefly about the overview of Cambodian digital economy. It's nothing quite different from our peers author who share about the digital economy in Brunei. We share similar challenges and progress. And I just want to mention that. Because our economy of digital economy is still at early stage, and how small it is, we don't have a real number yet. But the ADB did a study back in 2019, and they were estimating around $500 million. But by now, I think it probably be more than that. But it would fair to say that Cambodia sit under the category of less developed in terms of digital economy. We also don't have a robust regulatory framework yet. We have a few laws that have been drafted, but a lot more still in the pipeline, and this present barrier to full transformation to digital economy. Our infrastructure and digital adoption is still low. And like other country in the region, COVID, while it's a pandemic, but also provide us an opportunity to boost the adoption of digital economy as well. So some progress has been made, but major challenges remain, and I'm going to talk about some of those challenges. Next slide, please. So first one, I like to talk about the policy that we have so far to govern digital economy. Next slide. I mentioned more of these policy in the paper, but now I just want to talk about three most important policy that we have in Cambodia. So as of many of you have already aware that we had an election back in July, and we have a new government and a new prime minister. And during the formation of the new government, they also launched the new pentagonal strategy. It is a successor to the rectangular strategy which we have been implemented for the last like 20 years. So what is different from this pentagonal strategy is the addition of another pillar, the number 5, the development of digital economy and society. So from this new addition, we can see a clear indication from the government that digital economy is becoming a more important kind of tool or mechanism to achieve the overall development of Cambodia, which is aiming to become upper middle income country by 2030. Another important policy, next slide please, after the pentagonal strategy is the digital economy and society policy framework, which was adopted in 2021. So the goal of this policy is to transform Cambodia economy to become a vibrant digital economy and society. And to do this, they develop kind of 3 main pillars to focus on. So we have digital citizen, digital government, and digital businesses, and they have developed develop like dedicated committee, interministerial committee to focus on each of these pillar. And the government also understand that for this policy to be effective, they need to build strong foundation, which include enabling infrastructure and digital transformation, and also increasing trust and confidence in the digital system. So this broad policy framework will be implemented in 3 phases, moving from building the foundation to digital adoption and digital transformation as the last phase to be achieved between 2031 and 2035. Next slide, please. So another important policy that has recently developed is the fintech policy that we discussed in the previous paper. What is interesting about this policy is that they use an analogy of a tree to kind of develop the ecosystem of the fintech. So at the bottom you have the soil and the root, which serve as the strong foundation to create an enabling and vibrant ecosystem of fintech. So the foundation include like regulation, payment exchange, cross-border data exchange, stuff like that. And then in the middle, what they call the trunk, it's an effort to promote the use and development of enabling technology, and that's include cloud and API and blockchain and recently AI. So with strong foundation and a good kind of enabling environment, it will create a more robust and vibrant kind of fintech activity, and that is reflected in the branches of the tree, which include digital payment, insurtech, digital banking, P2P financing, stuff like that. Next slide, please. So next I'm going to talk about some of the progresses and challenges that we experience in transforming our economy to become a fully fledged digital economy. Next slide. So like I said, it's not very different from what our colleague shared about Brunei, and also the first paper on the ASEAN Digital Community 2045. So I grouped that based on 3 categories, like connectivity, skill and innovation, and regulatory environment. So on connectivity, I won't read the number over there, but Cambodia sit very low on some of those indicators. We are making progress, but the progress has not been fast enough. That include digital payment, internet connection, 4G, 5G, broadband access, stuff like that. But I want to emphasize on the rural and urban divide. If you go to the capital Phnom Penh, you may not see that digital connectivity is an issue, because it's very much like in Bangkok. In Manila, everyone has a smartphone, or maybe 2 or 3 smartphones. Everyone using QR payment to pay for the product and services. But if you just move away from Phnom Penh, like 30 kilometers away from Phnom Penh, you will see a stark difference in terms of access and affordability and awareness and understanding on those new technologies. So the divide, the gap is huge between rural and urban population. Next slide. The next group category of challenge, progress and challenges is on digital skill and innovation. So basically, Cambodia is still ranked very low on its education and innovation kind of indicator. So the issue is that educational reform in Cambodia have not been fast enough to catch up with the regional and global trends. So we have a situation in which many schools still focus on the traditional major like finance and marketing and businesses, and not so much focus on STEM, science, technology, and stuff like that. And as we all know, that those kind of traditional major can easily be replaced by emerging technology. So they need to do more in order to promote STEM as field. There are also a limited number of researchers and innovators. Thus, it's kind of limit the level of innovation, and policy also play an important role. There is a lack of effective policy institution to support and coordinate the different innovation activity in the country. Next slide, please. So, like I said, on the regulatory front, we have a number of laws that has been passed in the past decade, and a few more are on the pipeline. But overall, we compare with the other country in the region, we can fairly say that Cambodia regulatory environment is still very much underdeveloped. And even for the existing regulation, there also has been gap and inconsistency in terms of enforcement. So a number of key regulation are still missing. For example, data protection is still missing. A comprehensive cybersecurity law, which will have to serve as the trust building among the people to embrace more of the technology, is also missing. Also, there is awareness, a lack of awareness among the people as well, and also the private sector about the implication of not having those laws, how it impact the businesses and their daily life, stuff like that. So, like I said, in terms of enforcement, there are not been consistent in enforcement, and also there are some gap also, and that's because of the resource constraint of the government institution and the fragmented responsibility of different ministries. So some ministries have overlapping responsibility. As a result, there's a lack of clear coordination or leadership to enforce those regulations. Next slide, which is my last slide. So a couple of recommendations. I think these are not news as well. Basically, just to improve whatever area that Cambodia is underdeveloping. So that include investment in infrastructure, improvement in digital skill and literacy, especially bridging the rural and urban divide. Promoting more innovation, strengthening the legal system, stuff like that. But I like to emphasize on one thing that could help Cambodia to leapfrog its digital economy transformation, and that is the use of emerging technology like AI, blockchain, and machine learning, because these emerging technology have been proven to be very productive, very effective in increasing productivity in agriculture, in healthcare, in banking. So if Cambodian government are able to leverage those emerging technology to improve it, some of those sectors that still have challenges, it would be able to move much faster toward a full-fledged digital economy. So I will stop here and yeah.
So thank you, Professor Apardengke. Now I would like to move to the discussant, Dr. Simon Tay. Now you have 5 minutes for your discussions.
Hi, sorry. So this is Janessa from the Singapore Institute of International Affairs. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Yes. Hi. I'd just like to introduce myself and apologize on behalf of Simon, who will not be able to participate today due to a prior last-minute engagement. So I will be speaking on his behalf, but he has taken a look at the paper as well, and I just wanted to convey some of his feedback as well as the Institute's feedback as well. So I think generally for the structure of the paper, it is very clear and easy to understand. There wasn't much, I would say, difficulty in understanding each of the separate points of the paper with regards to the digital policies, followed by some of the challenges and opportunities. I think what might be helpful here would be to include an abstract before the introduction, just to give an overview of what the paper is about. So if it's a landscaping paper or state of paper in terms of Cambodia's digital economy, having that abstract would help readers understand what the paper would be touching about and some of the aims. The next thing I would like to touch on is there are several digital economy policies that have been mentioned as well. I think you've highlighted a few in your presentation. I think what might be good for the reader would be to kind of have a similar structure for each of these descriptions of the digital policies. So for example, brief overview of what it is, what is the aim purpose, what are some of the main targets and goals, and which ministry is currently driving some of these initiatives. I think if there's a similar structure, this might be more helpful for the reader and clearer for the reader to understand. You also touched on 4 main pillars for progress and challenges of the digital economy, which I believe are very relevant, and especially in Cambodia's context. I think what might be helpful here is to highlight these pillars at the beginning of the paper and link to the digital economy policies or initiatives mentioned in the previous section. I think when you talk about some of these challenges, you can also include a summary of some of the overarching opportunities and challenges before diving into the specifics. Next, on the conclusion and the recommendations, I think you rightfully point out that AI and emerging technologies like AI, machine learning, and blockchain can help leapfrog digital economy development in Cambodia. We would recommend potentially moving that under the innovation pillar instead of leaving it towards the end in your conclusion and your recommendations. I think that might fit with the flow of the paper a bit better and would provide you the opportunity to expand on some of the challenges Cambodia might face in terms of regulating some of these emerging technologies, because I think with the opportunity of AI, we also have to talk about the regulation and the government's framework that is needed in order to implement AI in the country. I have a couple more points on content itself. So I'll just touch on them briefly because I also understand I'm between you and lunch. So the first part is on scoping the 4 main pillars. So I think the 4 main pillars mentioned were digital infrastructure, digital skills and education, innovation, and I think there's one more aspect, the regulatory environment. I think what would be helpful is to scope each pillar a bit more clearer. So in terms of, let's say, digital infrastructure, which aspects fall under digital infrastructure? For example, if you're going to cover aspects with regards to data centers, 5G, broadband, and networks, that would provide the reader with a clearer understanding of what aspects you'll be covering in each section, which would be helpful in the next aspect when it comes to recommendations. The next part would be on regulatory environment specifically. I think if you could provide a broad overview in terms of what the digital regulation currently implemented in Cambodia, that would be helpful. So for example, if they currently have anything related to personal data protection or cybersecurity, before diving into some of the challenges with regards to regulation. I think something that was very interesting to us was highlighting the key concern with regards to cybersecurity and scams in Cambodia. So a bit more elaboration on that, I think, would be very interesting to the reader, especially if it's a key challenge that Cambodia currently faces in terms of regulating cybersecurity. And I think that would be it. I feel like other notes would include, moving certain definitions into the footnotes. So it will enable you with more space to talk about some of the other issues and elaborate on the challenges, as I previously mentioned. But I think besides that, we do think it's overall a very, very well-written paper with sufficient examples and also talks about what Cambodia can do moving forward. So I think I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Simon Tay. So I would like to invite the view from the government official from the Cambodia, Mr. Sam Chitra. I think it's online.
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, he's here. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Please.
Hi. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for giving me the floor just like between me and Lan. So I will make a quick comment on the paper. First of all, I would like to thank Ria for inviting me to participate in this important event, and also thank you Thailand for hosting us in the beautiful island of Krabi, and also thank Dr. Pekday for your paper and your presentation, and also thank for the comment from Dr. Simon. From my note, I I see the paper is highlight a lot of key high-level documents in Cambodia toward the digital transformation in Cambodia, especially the recently adopted the pentagonal strategy that is the first phase for the new government after 20 years of the implementation of the previous strategy. And also the paper highlight key challenge for Cambodia toward the development of the digital economy. Like the digital infrastructure, we realize that Cambodia is still facing the challenge to increase the efficiency and provide more broadband toward the digital infrastructure. However, we are used to discuss this among the government and private sector, how to move the, how to develop, how to narrow the digital gap in Cambodia. The private sector, they also have the challenge from their side because of lack of investment fund, lack of the, it's like they need to invest with a big budget, but they still have the small revenue to get back. Because take into account the number of population in Cambodia is still small. So the revenue that the company can collect from increasing the development of infrastructure is still relatively low. Another thing is like the digital skill and challenge. Like Dr. Bekday already highlight the digital skill at the development level of digital skill in Cambodia is just relatively low because of another factor as identified in his paper. I like the what he found in the paper. And back into this, I just want to highlight that the challenge because of the student from the rural area cannot have the way to access to such of ICT product to get into the better education on the technology side, and also the research and also the innovation in this field is also relatively low if compared to another major that Dr. Pekday had already mentioned, like the traditional major like accounting, finance, and management. They have a lot of resources to access. From the regulatory gap, I realize that this important issue to be raised because in the recent year, the government tried to enact a number of laws toward the digital transformation. We have the consumer protection law, we have e-commerce law, we have a number of regulations being draft. Data protection law, cyber security law, cybercrime law is also under the way. Hopefully, in this year or next year, we will have a number of laws to be adopted based on the commitment of the government. Besides the internal effort, we also have the international effort. Like we are engaging in international agreement, ASEAN Plus agreement, OSAP as well as so to show that Cambodia government already commit herself to the international standard, to the international cooperation, to the align with member state and also align with the need of our development partner. The DFA negotiation will become soon, so Cambodia will take a lot of effort to benefit from the DeFi negotiation for the next 2 years. And from innovation challenge, it's like Dr. Pekday already mentioned a lot in his paper, what is the challenge there. But my suggestion is that we see the challenge is probably different stakeholders, they have a different challenge to from their perspective. For example, from the government side, they have another challenge from their perspective. The business side, they have the challenge from their perspective. Academia researcher, they seen another challenge that it should be, we can collect the idea and put and frame it together to see what is the overall challenge that Cambodia really face. And also for the recommendation part, it's like the challenge already framed for 4 main pillars. So the recommendation should be addressed to each challenge. For example, the challenge number 1, you have recommendation 1, 2, 3. Challenge number 2, you have recommendation number 3. So this is easy for government to consider the suggestion from the researcher. That's all from my point. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sam. I know that we are looking for beautiful lunch, but as we start late, 15 minutes, so we have 5 minutes left for the Q&A. So maybe I would like to open the floor for the question, maybe 1 or 2 questions, probably from online, and please.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation and insight information from Cambodia. This is quite clear and make us more understand the status of Cambodia. In this regard, as the policy level, as ASEAN is planning to start negotiation DEFA next month, so it would be better to understand more to plan the direction of DeFi negotiations. So in this regard, I would like to ask that your view as an expert, what Cambodia expect to get or what is the need to add on in DeFi, so in order to help all member ASEAN to achieve the goal as a whole. Thank you.
So how about online? Do you have any questions? Okay, if not, Professor Heng. Okay, Professor Heng, please. Yeah, you have maybe 5 minutes for your response.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. First of all, I'd like to thank Professor Simon Tay for the comprehensive comment on the paper. I took note of all the suggestions. I think they are valid suggestions, and we'll work on the improvement in the next draft. But I think the challenge, as with the author as well, is the word limitation. I think the overall comment is expansion, more explanation on the policy recommendation and stuff like that. But that would add length to the paper. But we will try to condense the existing paper and include some of the recommendation that you mentioned. The question about DFAT, I'm not really an expert in this area. That's why I asked my colleague from the government if he would like to share his opinion. Maybe he can chip in later. But I think the challenge is that different countries, especially Cambodia, is at a very different development stage in terms of infrastructure, in terms of digital skill, in terms of innovation. So that would present a challenge in the negotiation on how Cambodia can contribute to bridging the gap in the ASEAN level, including like what we mentioned, like the digital device and infrastructure and education. But I will look into that and we'll try to come up with some suggestion in the paper. And if my colleague from the government, who is probably more familiar with the subject matter, we want to add something.
Thank you so much for the question. Thank you so much, Dr. Thakday, for your intervention on the subject matter. Regarding the DIFA, I guess some of you probably familiar with the background of the DIFA and also the framework for the DIFA negotiation. DIFA built on the by taking into account the different level of economic development of the member state and also the readiness of the member state. So we recognize in the region the development level, the digital gap or digital divide, as well as the readiness of each member state is not at the same level as already highlighted in the ADII 1.0. And I know that at the ACCD level, they are trying to upgrade the ADII 2.0 to see after 2019 first develop of ADII to see in the timeline of 3 years how the AMS develop itself in terms of the digital index. So this will be used as the key document to indicate the position of each member state. Cambodia is among the LDC country joining with our Laos and Myanmar colleagues in the DIFA negotiation. So we will try to see how we can align ourselves in those commitments that will be proposed in the DIFA negotiation. And so what kind of cooperation in nature provision that we can take opportunity to join with another member state to cooperate in those kind of area. But from the previous FTA negotiation, like our LDC members, like the defensive in nature, we cannot offensive in nature. So we will try to see the potential area among the DIFA pillar. How can we offer to the negotiation table rather than just take those kind of commitment to implement in such a timely manner. But somehow we realize that the commit with the regional level is kind of external force to pull the domestic agency to run follow the another member state is the key important thing that we consider balancing between the protection and allow for the improvement our economy. Thank you.
Okay, one minute. Yep.
Yeah, one thing just came to my mind. I would personally ask for more knowledge and technology transfer within ASEAN. So this is related to my question, my comment on the paper on the ASEAN Digital community. So I understand that trade will probably need other non-ASEAN member to contribute. But I think within ASEAN, there are also leaders in technology or in education that would be very good to share with other less developed country like Cambodia, Myanmar, and Laos. I'm looking at Singapore, for example, Malaysia, who are leading in fintech development policy. So if more developed countries are willing to do more to transfer their knowledge and technology and support a less developed member to catch up faster. And with the help of emerging technology, hopefully they can even help those less developed countries to catch up faster. That would, I think, facilitate faster integration in terms of ASEAN digital economy. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Professor Heng, and also Dr. Sams for your thoughtful reply to all comments and suggestions. So I would like to thank all speakers and also discussants for the session, first sections to the fourth one. And I think right now we are moving to the farewell part for the lunch break. Okay, thank you so much for all participations. Thank you.
The lunch will be served at the Lotus Restaurant, which is the same restaurant you had breakfast today. So please be sure to be back here by 2:25 p.m. as we will start promptly at 2:30 p.m. Thank you and enjoy your lunch.
Your position paper. Yeah. อาจารย์เป็นไหนอ๋อสมัย at ASEAN level ไปยังตอนเป็นอ๋อโอเค